Hi there, I'm Sarah Zarella, a portrait and wedding photographer and your host for Wedding Secrets Unveiled. This is a podcast where we cut through the complexity of wedding planning, leaving you with everything you need to know direct from the industry experts. If you want to simplify your wedding planning, while having fun, of course, you came to the right place. Join me while I guide you through your planning, starting from your engagement to your big day where you say, I do. After photographing for the past 18 years, I am sharing with you tips and tricks to cut through the excess noise because I believe from the moment you said yes, your planning experience should be a magical time in your life. Here you'll find episodes that are fun, stress-free, and straight to the point, with a fresh, honest take about the reality of what you really need to know about planning your perfect day. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. So you're planning a wedding. You picked your date. You picked your venue. Hopefully you picked your photographer. And now you need to select who's going to rock your party. Get your guests moving on the dance floor and having a great time. Let's face it, you're getting married. Who does not want to have a huge, successful celebration? My question to you is, do you know where to start in finding your reception entertainment? If not, this is the perfect episode for you. I am very excited to introduce you to my friend Kenny from Elite Entertainment. We are talking about DJs today, friends. Do you even know what makes a good DJ? Do you know how to find a good DJ? Do you know the difference between DJs? If not, then by the end of this episode, you will. Kenny's going to walk you through how to find the perfect DJ. He's going to unveil the secret tips of selecting your DJ. He's going to cover from the initial meeting to questions you should ask, things you should look for, and what happens after your big day. He's going to go over how to expect and receive proper customer service from a DJ. We're also going to give you the complete inside scoop today from all things DJ. So get ready to learn a few tips on your entertainment when it comes to your DJ. Sit back, relax, and listen to my conversation with Kenny so you can become one step closer to finding your perfect DJ. Well, hello, Kenny. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Sarah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you today. I have been hounding you a little bit to come on the show now, have I not?
Yeah, it's okay.
You're busy.
I am busy, but I could always make time for you.
Absolutely. And I'm excited, though, because I really think it's really important for our listeners to understand how to find the best DJ. I mean, one of the questions that I get being a photographer is, who do I recommend for entertainment? I think it goes hand in hand. I think we're one of the first few to get booked in the wedding planning process. So thank you for being here, Kenny.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me again.
So for those people who don't know you, let's start with who you are, who you serve, and what you do for your business.
Sure. So DJ Kenny, Kenneth Ferrara, my office, we're located in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. We serve primarily Rhode Island and Mass. I would say about 50 to 60% of our business in Newport, so we're very familiar with that area. But really, we go wherever our couples book us. I mean, we've done weddings in Florida. We've done weddings in the Bahamas. So people have flown us out pretty much, all over the U.S. So we'll pretty much go anywhere. As far as me, a little background on myself. I've been doing this for over 20 years. And a quick funny story how we got started. When I was about 14, my mother came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to weddings, listen to music?" I said, "Sure, that's no problem." And I said, "Get paid for it?" And she said, "Yes." "And stay up late?" And she said, "Yeah." So, that's kind of how I got started. Going to weddings, being like a roadie, pulling in equipment and loading it up and loading it in. And I really took to it. I started doing little school dances in my teenage years. And then it just blossomed into a really successful wedding business where we've been in business for about 16 years now.
Kenny, how many people are part of your crew?
Sure. So we have a team of 4 to 5 people. We have myself, who is, the main DJ. With me, it's first come, first serve. So whoever kind of scoops me up first, that's kind of where it starts. And then we have 2 other DJs, one that's been with us for about 4 to 5 years, and then we just took on another DJ actually during COVID, if you can believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of COVID, let's dive in. Before we dive into a little bit of the nitty gritty of the entertainment DJ world, I would love to hear kind of a little bit of a backstory about what happened last year for you, what you did to kind of get through it, because I can tell you from what I saw, I think the entertainment world was really hit hard.
Yeah, we were. Pretty much didn't really know what to do or what to expect last year. To kind of put it into perspective, I know obviously a lot of businesses got crushed, but we had up to 70 weddings for 2020, and we ended up doing 7.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 weddings. So as you know, Sarah, it was a scheduling nightmare, but we got through it, and some of the stuff that kept me sane was, playing music. So one thing we did that was fun, every Friday night we did Facebook Live. So we did, I think it was called Club COVID, right? So we would do Club COVID for a couple hours. I set up my DJ booth, some speakers in my basement. When my kids went to bed, I was on.
No, not all the time. They made appearances.
Wait, I know. I'd get
just like your mom would take and let you stay up a little bit later. Yes. I noticed they made some appearances.
Yes, they did. Yeah. So they would make some appearances in my 30-minute intro. But when they went to bed, I would be in the basement, and they'd be on the second floor, so they couldn't hear anything. But so we played for basically the public. Everybody was stuck at home, so we would tell people to make some dinner, make some drinks, and then we would just play a different themed week. So we would do like a 60s night, we do an 80s night, a 90s night, and we just kind of like to keep it fresh every week, do something different.
I know that in my household, I think so. We became regulars, and actually, my daughters became regulars. They lived for their Friday nights. I think what happened is I was just like scrolling through Facebook, and I just saw you pop up. And the backstory is my husband, actually Steve. He's back in the previous life he was a DJ. And I saw that you were spinning and doing your thing. And I said, "Hey, look, Steve!" And so he looks, and then all of a sudden my daughter looks over my shoulder, and the rest is history. We would plug you in. We would streamline you to literally, Kenny. You were sitting on above our mantle on the big TV, and my girls would get in their PJs, and every Friday night they would sit there and they would dance, and it became a thing. And they would ask me what day is today? I'm like, today's Thursday. They're like, okay, tomorrow is dance party night. So I think you called them there. You would give them shout outs.
Groupies, yeah, Stevie and Sammy, yeah. I mean, so that's one thing that really kept us going and kept us engaged in playing music, because we do weddings every single weekend. 85% of the year we're rocking weddings Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So we really needed something to stay occupied and stay sane.
An outlet.
Yeah, and besides having Stevie and Sammy as our groupies, we had a lot of our brides on there, and we really kept them engaged. And it really, it went beyond just playing. It really showed, something different, our skill set as well. We did some mic work, so we just tried to keep it fun and fresh.
You mentioned that you had some of your brides on there. I actually did notice a lot of times, all joking aside, I did notice with the comments, because obviously on Facebook Live you can comment. You had a lot of your past couples too on there.
Oh yeah,
that was nice. I mean,
you
I did see that. They were saying, "Hey, Kenny," and then someone will say, you DJ'd my wedding X amount of years ago, or today's our anniversary, or our 5th anniversary. And it was nice to see the little community that you have. So clearly, I mean, at least for an outsider looking in, I mean, yes, I was there because you basically was babysitting my kids for Steve and I just to kind of hang out and have a good time. Yeah. But no, I mean, I did notice that you have a little community and that your couples love you.
Yeah, and it's so great to see that as well. I mean, we have couples that we've done their weddings, 10, 11 years ago, and they still, that's what's so great about social media. They still keep in touch with you and just maybe shoot us a message or put something in the comments. So it's so great to see that. And it's so great to know that we did such a great job. And we'll talk about that in a little bit on the things that we do to make our couples feel comfortable and have a successful celebration. But it's just so great to see those comments as well. And there are, I mean, besides DJing, we also did a couple other cool things during COVID, just to kind of keep saying that I kind of wanted to just touch base with you. So, the gyms were closed. I'm a big gym freak. I like to go at least 4 times a week. So we had a lot of home workouts, whether it be my son Gian doing push-ups on the rug, or us running around the house just to kind of stay active. And most of COVID at the beginning was during the colder months, so you couldn't go outside. So we just, those are some things that we did to stay sane as well.
I think that looking back, I know that this year's crazy for you. Like I said, I was trying to get you on this podcast for a while, but your schedule's super busy, and you're going to be, and that's great. But I think looking back, it's, 2020 is going to be an interesting year, good and bad for you. Right. It was definitely bad business-wise, but hey, like you said, you got to do some really fun things with your family.
Yeah. We had. I'm always trying to look at it as a positive, pretty much anything. So, as crazy as it was financially for the business, the family time was just unbelievable, and you can never ever get that back.
Especially considering that you have small ones.
Yeah.
All right, Kenny. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty of booking the perfect DJ.
All right.
With that said, can you tell us a little bit about the initial booking process?
Sure. So a lot of our leads come from our website and different platforms that we advertise on. So I am a huge believer of when that email comes in to get back to that couple client right away. So, I would say on an average, we're less than 10 minutes getting back to our couples. I'm very OCD with always checking my emails. And I think, being getting married about 4 or 5 years ago, I would want that same service if I was looking for someone to book. So getting back to them right away, and then trying to get them on the phone or meet them in person is key, okay? A lot of couples out there are, they're looking for pricing. I like to really get them on the phone, get them in an in-person meeting, and really talk about the value that we bring before we get into pricing.
So you talk a little bit about that you would like to meet them in person. Mm-hmm. What happens if they can't meet you in person?
So we can do a phone call or we can get on a Zoom call. So I would say in person is first option. Second would be Zoom, and last case scenario would be a call. The reason I like in person and Zoom is the couples can really see your facial expression, see how excited you are to talk to them. And I think that shows a lot, pretty much in anything, to see how excited you are to be part of their day and to kind of articulate what you offer for services.
What do you cover in your initial meeting? Like, what can a couple expect when they do sit down with you?
Sure. So even before the meeting, phone call, or the Zoom, I always kind of see if the couple did their homework on me. So what I mean by that is, have they experienced a wedding that we've done? Have they looked at our reviews? Have they gone on our social media? So if they haven't done any of that, I'll tell them first. I said, if you can please check out our social media sites, which is linked in our email, or our reviews before we meet or before we hop on the phone, that'd be great, because we attract a certain couple. Our style is very, very different than just the average DJ out there. And I say that because there's so many different DJ companies. There's so many great DJ companies, but we really attract a certain couple. Our whole vibe, our demeanor, our customer service is, I would say is A1. So that's kind of the couple that we attract when we get our inquiries.
I'm sure a lot of people are thinking right now, like, what is the difference between a DJ and how can you see that visually unless they've seen you in action?
Right. And starting out my business, that was the challenge. Like, we didn't have a lot of content with social media. We didn't have a lot of videos out. We didn't have a lot of, couples attend our weddings because we didn't do any weddings because we were a new business. So, as any business starts off, that's very challenging. But, as we grew in the weddings that we did do, we made sure that we had our couples do reviews on us. And then I went even further to say, hey, if we have a couple that's looking to book us and there's not a lot of content out there. There's not a lot of reviews. I'll ask a past couple. I'll say, do you mind if this hey, Sarah, you're looking to book Elite Entertainment, but you don't know anything about them. Do you mind talking to this past couple that I did a wedding, just so you can feel comfortable with? So those are the things that I thought of outside the box to really elevate my business to the next level, to book that next couple.
So Kenny, for the listeners that are listening here, when they meet with you on Zoom or in person, what exactly is the benefits of that meeting? What are they going to get out of it?
Anytime we meet with a couple, we really want to get to know their vision for their wedding. So obviously, every wedding's different. Every couple wants different things. So I really want to learn what their wants are and what their dislikes are. And that's really important to me because, like I was saying before, like we really attract a certain type of couple. And what I like to do, whether it's Zoom or in person, I really like to pull up on our screen in our office, or I can pull it up via a screen share on the computer, is show them, how we do announcements to a wedding, or show how we introduce the couple, show some clips of dancing, maybe some clips of us mixing music, so they really get educated on pretty much all aspects of the business, because there's so many details, as you know, that goes into a wedding. So we want to really show them what kind of DJ we are on the microphone, what kind of DJ we are when we're mixing songs. So those are the kind of things that I go into, and then later on we can go into pricing and other services that we offer.
That's very valuable. I think that is exactly what they're probably looking for. They really want to see what happens at the actual wedding. I know for me, a lot of times when I get asked if I recommend any DJs, a lot of times the first thing that people go to, believe it or not, is not so much the music that you play, it's how you present yourself on the mic.
Right.
They have an opinion about that. It's very interesting, the one-liner I'll get about what they're looking for. Yeah. So I think that's I think that's great that you go over that with the initial meeting. So it sounds like to me that you're setting people's expectations pretty early.
Yeah, 100%. So I really want them to know what they're, getting themselves into, I would say, and kind of really know what we're all about. So, whether it be showing videos or, I've even done right on the spot a little announcements, for them. I'll meet them in my office and I'll say, okay, this is how we're going to do your introductions. And they love it, just to be a little bit different.
Absolutely. Yeah. They got to make sure that you have great mic presence,
Right. Yeah. And I'm all about less is more. Honestly, we're not the type of company that's going to, go on the dance floor and start dancing and singing. And there's companies that are out there and they do a great job, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's not our style. Our style is upbeat, professional, organized, and just bring the party, because that's all couples want, is their family and friends to have one big party, a packed dance floor. But on the back end, they want it to be organized. They want it to be smooth, a seamless process, and that's kind of what we bring to the table.
Earlier, you talked about that you have a certain couple that you attract, and I think that kind of is exactly what you're saying. I could tell you, I see a ton of different entertainment. Obviously, every wedding I go to, there's entertainment.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how there's some DJs that do get on the dance floor, and you know what? People love it. Yeah. There's some people that just they love it. Yeah. A lot of my I have like I said, I have a lot of there's a certain clientele that wants that.
Right.
A lot of my day weddings, for example, they want that. They want that more of that engaging vibe.
Right.
There's different DJs for different things. So I think that what you're saying basically is by having that initial meeting, right off the bat if you can provide them what they're looking for, and you give them visuals and you set up their expectations.
Yeah.
How about customer service? Because I can tell you, yes, we've talked a lot about letting them see what happens the day of, but I would assume there's a lot that goes into hand-holding a couple too, and what some companies do versus what some companies don't do.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a huge believer of customer service. I'm a huge believer of treat others the way you would like to be treated. And I see that when I go out to eat and the service industry and all that other stuff. But I'm a huge believer of taking care of these couples, okay? And, you might ask, okay, well, how do you take care of these couples? There's a few different ways. I mean, it starts from the initial meeting. You want them to feel like they're welcome into your office, or whether it be a phone call or Zoom, really get to know them on a personal level. So I'm a huge believer of anyone that you meet, they first have to get to know you and like you. And once they get to know you and they like you, then they trust you. So I really have to build that rapport with them. And I honestly tell all my couples, I don't want to be just another vendor that you booked. I don't want to be just some business that you booked. I want to get to know you. I mean, we've had couples that we've went out to dinner with. And when I say we, I meant us as a company, or me and my wife. We've met for a drink. We met for coffee. And I just kind of like to think outside the box, because when you do that and then their wedding day comes, it's so easy for me. They feel like we're going to just rock the house because they've had so many conversations with us. And they just feel comfortable.
I mean, a wedding's a very personal event. I mean, that's the most personal event that you can have. And if you're emceeing it and you know the couple that well, it's just a very easy process.
It is. And it makes it easy for all parties involved. And I mean, probably 90% of the whole wedding process is going to be a year, from a year to year and a half by the time they book you and then their wedding. So what happens in between? So we actually have a schedule that we go by for each couple. Say at the 6-month mark, we do this. At the 3-month mark, we do this. At the 1 month mark, we do this. And then there's other things. Holidays are going to happen. We shoot all of our couples a Happy Thanksgiving or a Merry Christmas or a Happy New Year, just to say hi and just to kind of be personable to them. So those are some different things that we do to keep in touch with them and make them feel engaged in the whole process with us.
How about your setup? And the only reason why I bring that up is I have noticed with you, and this has to be planned. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you should come with a white setup.
Yeah.
And sometimes you come with a black setup.
Right. White and black setup. Yep.
There has to be a method to your madness here.
Yeah. I mean, so I would say I have a little bit of a OCD problem, and I really, really like things particular. And so, back in the day when we first started, we'd bring, the big tables with the big facades, or, the linen that covers the table. And, there's still DJs that do that, and it looks it looks great. It's very clean, but we kind of wanted to set ourselves, a little bit different, kind of think outside the box. And so we provide like a DJ booth, okay? So there's no table, there's no linen, there's no facade. It's a clean booth. We have a white setup, like you said, and a black setup. Honestly, with the black and white setup is it's for, maybe smaller weddings, maybe 150 or less. And then our other setup is for like 150 to 300 people. So that's the only thing with the black and white. But
it has nothing to do with the room aesthetic? Because I thought you were matching the room aesthetic.
No, not really.
Okay,
I mean,
you blend right in.
Right. So we will use a specific setup if a couple is adamant about it, or we think it'll look better in a room. So that's a good point. But, we just want to diversify and just have different options for our couples. And we just want to be different with pretty much our whole atmosphere, whether it be our setup or the way we dress, the way we present ourselves. That's kind of what we want to portray.
Well, speaking of the way you dress, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick short break. And then when we return, I'm going to ask you about exactly how you present yourself and what people should be asking you or other DJs about how they present themselves on a wedding day.
All right.
I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. And don't forget, you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate if you left a fabulous review on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support. And now, let's get back to the episode.
Well, welcome back, podcast friends. So we're here with Kenny. He talked a little bit about what to expect with the first initial meeting when you're speaking with your potential DJ. We went over what the setup looks like, what makes them a little different versus the customer service But now I want to talk about a little bit about, Kenny, what do you look like the day of the wedding? I mean, it's serious. What do you look like? You know? How do you show up at a wedding?
All right. So, I mean, I'm a huge believer of dress to impress, but I mean, you obviously have the load-in process first. So, I mean, we'll come in comfortable clothes or jeans and our sneakers, and we'll have our elite entertainment hoodie on or t-shirt. But that's just to set up. But I'm a huge believer of like I said, dress to impress. So I mean, I have a very large closet of different suits and ties and shirts and artificial flowers we can put on our suit, whether it be to match the color of the couple, of their theme, or just what my personal preference is. And so a nice suit, a nice tie. A big fan of Cole Haan shoes. I know, Sarah, your husband and I go back and forth with those when we see each other. But it's very important to look professional. I mean, you got to understand you're representing, whether it be yourself or another company or another business, in your center stage. You're in that microphone, whether you have 50 or 400 people looking at you. You got to look good, and we take a lot of pride in how we dress for whether it be a wedding or any event.
Yeah, for the people who are listening, I obviously like we always do, we'll put up the show notes on our blog, but we'll have a couple pictures of you, Kenny, and
nice.
You'll be wearing your staple. It's your staple like flower, little little lapel, I guess. Yeah. And like you said, your shoes. I mean, my husband took notice of the style of the shoes that you wear. So take us through a little bit about, obviously we talked a little bit about what you look like the day, but how about the day of, like the actual wedding?
Yeah. So, I mean, as you know, as a photographer, Sarah, the day of the wedding there's a lot going on. So we wear many hats and not just play music, okay? So kind of going to what we said before, what is a couple to expect during, initial meeting? What are they to expect during their wedding? So, I really express we want to be more than just your DJ, Obviously, you're going to have the event coordinator there to help with stuff. But, they have their staff to worry about. They have food that's, happening as well. So who really takes control of the night? And that's where we come in, of being not just your DJ. So we'll make sure that, the timeline that we have is followed. We'll make sure that we work together with the other vendors. So, I mean, Sarah, you and I have done a ton of weddings together. So we'll make sure that we tell you what's happening before it's happening. So whether you need the battery change or you need a lens change, it's very, very important that your DJ works well with your other vendors, whether it be your videographer, your photographer, the event planner from the venue, to let them know what's going on as well.
I do think that's very important. I'm glad you brought that up because, there is a difference between a great DJ and a great wedding DJ. And right now, today, we're talking about wedding DJs because I know as a photographer, you can have an awesome DJ. But if he doesn't understand or she doesn't understand the flow of the day or the fact that there's a videographer, a photographer there. There's also the venue coordinator that's firing up the back of the house with the meals wanting to be hot and execution. Right. And then for us, we want to make sure that we are able to capture the intros. We want to make sure we're capturing the cake cutting, and we have to be there in the room. I mean, we could be outside maybe photographing the venue or a night shot. So I'm glad you brought that up, and that's something that our listeners should really consider is when you do have that initial meeting, those are some of the questions they should be asking is how do you organize the day of and how do you work with vendors?
100%. And some points on that, a funny story something that always happens that's funny to me is, lining up the wedding party. I would say almost every wedding, obviously your wedding party is just ready to go. They're fired up after cocktail hour. They've had their drinks, and now it's time to introduce everyone into the room. So you, as a DJ, you have to be heard, okay? So think about this. So you say you have a wedding party of 20 people. You have your parents, you have the grooms, and you have the bridesmaids, you have your flower girl, you have the best man, maid of honor, then you have your couple, okay? Now they're all drinking, they're all kind of talking, but you have them in a room or you have them outside the main ballroom. You have to line them up. So you have to take control. You have to be loud. You have to set the expectation so they can listen. So that's kind of the stuff we do. We kind of take control in a fun way, though. You know, introduce yourself. Like, hey, I'm Kenny, your DJ. You guys ready to party tonight? So stuff like that we'll do.
And pronounce their names correctly.
Oh my God,
that's like a whole other job.
Yeah.
That's why I will never be a DJ.
That's a whole other podcast. We can get into that. So spell the name phonetically, and obviously it's very, very important. But just like you have to, get your bride and groom to know you and trust you and like you, you got to do that with the parents. You got to do that with the wedding party. It's important for them to, feel your energy and know that you're there to have a good time.
I bet you too. You probably have to read the crowd a little bit.
Oh my God, that's very important, and that's why you really need an experienced DJ when you're looking. I mean, 20 plus years of experience comes with a lot. I mean, we're honestly reading couples from ceremony to cocktail, and what I mean by that is, I'm constantly reading the room, constantly looking at people, what they're bopping and vibing to during my cocktail music. What are they bopping and vibing to during my dinner music? You can see some expressions on people's faces, or maybe look to their person next to them and whether they like the song or they don't like the song. Also with that, you have to read, what's the dynamic in the room? Do you have more of a younger crowd? Do you have more of an older crowd? Do you have a little bit in between? So it's very important for me to see who's in the room, kind of seeing what vibe they are feeling, and then what we see from the beginning of the wedding is how we're going to execute for the rest of the night. So one thing that I tell my couples is we're not a company that's just going to come into your wedding and play 90s music for 4 hours, okay? We'll play a good variety. And 95% of weddings that are out there, you're going to have your 20-year-olds, and then you're going to have your 60, 70-year-olds. So your aunts, your uncles, your moms, and then your friends, your cousins, and stuff like that. So I think it's very important that you play a good variety from the oldies, to the 90s, the hip hop, all the way up to music that just came out, last week.
So Kenny, do you ever get like that person and that one person? Because I know I've been that person, and I'll be having a really good time. I mean, I'll be having a good time. I mean, this is not so much now because no. I mean, back in my day,
your heavy drinking days.
Yeah, I was I was so that person. I would just go up to the DJ and just breathing all over them and be like, play this. What do you do with that?
So yeah, I mean, I could tell you so many stories about different guests that come up. So I mean, yeah. You do get those people that had a little bit too much to drink, and you got to expect that with every wedding that you've been to. And I think the more weddings you do, the better you get at kind of diverting from what they're wanting, because we're only going to do what's in the best interest for the couple for that whole night, okay? And what we think is going to pack the dance floor and make everyone have a good time. So, if we want to be kind to the guests, we want to play, what they're requesting. But at the same point, there's songs that people are going to ask you to play that aren't appropriate for that couple's wedding, or it's going to clear the dance floor. So we have to have different tools in our back pocket to make sure we talk to that person coming up in a professional way, maybe kind of divert their attention to something else to make sure the wedding is a success.
You talk about clearing the dance floor. What's the sweet spot for couples for dancing? Is it 2 hours or is it 2.5?
Yeah, so I mean, I think everyone will have a different opinion on that. I think 2 hours is absolutely perfect. I mean, I can jam pack in pretty much a great variety of music, hit on everything I want to just totally pack that dance floor. And again, every wedding is different. People that attend are, more people than none might like to dance or not. But I would say the sweet spot is, 2 hours.
Another question to put you on the spot, just out of curiosity. Is there a number that when you hear a guest count, you're like, ooh, I love that. I love that number. Like as a DJ, is there a certain guest count that, or does it not even affect you?
Yeah, 200. 200 or higher is just an absolute rager. I mean, you know, we've done rages at 50 people. We've done rages at 100 people.
Oh, of course, but I'm just wondering.
Yeah, 200 or more is just like.
You love it.
Oh, I love it. There's nothing like that. I mean, when you see that dance floor with those guests up there, I mean that's a high for me. I mean, it's the best feeling in the world to know that, you know, the service you're providing, the music you're mixing, what you're doing is, you know, helping their enjoyment for that night.
So, Kenny, for couples planning their wedding, the day comes, they dance, they celebrate, and then comes the end. Mm-hmm. The wedding's over. So now what?
So the work is not done. A lot of people think that as a DJ, you know, you play music, the last dance plays, and you're done. I mean, like you, Sarah, a photographer, the work has just begun. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, absolutely. And honestly, I was like kind of cueing in on your answer. And I was like, "Ooh, tell me what you do," because I am underneath the assumption that you're right. Your work is done at the last dance. Yeah. For me, my work just began. Right. So, yeah, I you're right. I mean, I never even thought about other stuff that you do afterwards.
Yeah. So there's a few things that we do. I mean, one, the norm, like a lot of companies do. You want to review. But what we'll do is, you know, at the end of the night, we'll obviously go up to our couple, give them a big hug, and thank them for letting us be a part of their day. And we'll ask them, we're like, hey, you know, first off, you know, are you going to your honeymoon this week? Because we don't want to bother them. But, hey, when you're back from your honeymoon, I'm going to send you, you know, a couple emails. Do you mind doing a review on your experience with us? And, you know, 99% of them are just, they're so thankful. No problem. They'll get the review.
Well, that's how they found you. You know,
true, yes.
That's why it's important.
Right. So we want them to express to other future couples their experience with us. And reviews are important. And again, there's a lot of companies out there. They have, you know, tons of reviews. But what I tell my couples is really read the reviews and see the time that our couples put into you know, articulate exactly what we did for them and not just show up and play music. And that really helps us with our future bookings. And on top of reviews, again, the work's not done. There's a social media aspect. So we'll always ask our couples, are you cool with us posting pictures of you, whether it be dancing or, you know, pictures of you that you just got married at your ceremony, stuff like that. So there's a lot of social media content that we want to put out after. And to be honest, a lot of our couples wait for that to happen. So, you know, sometimes I might not get to it because we have 2-3 weddings on a weekend, and I have couples messaging me like, oh, you know, when are you going to post this stuff? And that makes me feel great because they're excited. They're excited and they're wanting to see that. So that's another thing we do. And on top of that, something that I like to do, just as a personal thing, I've always done it, is send them a thank you card after the fact. I think that's very important. It's very personalized. I handwrite every single card to them, and it's just something I just do to, you know, outside the box to show them how appreciative of them. If they could have picked anybody, you know, in Rhode Island or Mass or Connecticut, wherever they are, but they picked us.
Yeah, they gave you the honor of one of the most important days of their lives. Out of curiosity, though, you just mentioned in your answer that, you know, sometimes you have 2-3 weddings. Kenny, what time are you rolling in on a weekend at night to your house?
Yeah, late. I mean, we can be, you know, all different times, and it could be anywhere from 10 o'clock. We had a couple weddings this weekend. One wedding we got back at 12:30 a.m., another wedding was done at 9:30, so we got home at 10:30. But I mean, we've rolled in at, you know, 1 a.m., 1:30, and I always have my, you know, post-wedding routine: go home, you know, unpack, sit down, maybe have a beer, maybe just water, but always have something to eat, unwind, watch a little TV, and then go to bed.
Ooh, you know what? Speaking of beer, Kenny, do you if a couple offers you a drink on the job, do you accept it?
Absolutely not. And it's just a personal preference for me. I mean, I've been doing this for 24 years, and I can honestly tell you I have never had one drink at a wedding while the time frame was happening that we were contracted to. Now, after the wedding, and they say, hey, you want to grab a drink? Oh, of course. But
Right.
during the wedding, I need to stay on point. I need to be 150% for this couple. So, no.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, hey, it's nice that they asked, though.
It is,
right?
yeah, because they want their DJ to party with them.
No, I mean, I've seen DJs drink on the job. To each its own.
To each his own, yeah.
To each its own.
Yeah.
Just like you, I've been doing this for 18 years. I've never once accepted a drink on the job. I have them offer it, and I love that because that means that we're that level. We're close, and but it's just like you said, you got to be on point.
Yeah,
you're working.
Yeah.
All right, so Kenny, speaking of drinking and just having a good time in the party, what happens if something happens at the party? I mean, how are you covered?
Well, it's funny you bring this up because this can kind of go back to more of, what questions should couples be asking, these DJ companies. Are they insured? I mean, is the company covered if something happens at a wedding? And I think that's very, very important that whoever you do hire has some kind of insurance policy to cover whatever it may be, damages or whatnot for the day of.
Yeah, that's actually a good point that you brought up because, a lot of times you hear people say, oh, I went with my friend for this. I mean, and that even happens in my industry.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah, and it's great that they are supporting their friends and their family. It's great that they found somebody that that knows them. But there are other aspects to being a vendor on site. A lot of these venues need us to produce certificates of insurance. Yep. But also, too, I don't think people realize the liability that's on our hands. Yeah,
there's a huge liability that a lot of folks don't understand. I mean, and with that, you're talking about, I booked a family friend, and like you said, it's great that they want to think of someone, but, does that family friend, do they do it full time? Are they fully invested in making sure your wedding is the biggest celebration of your life? And there's nothing wrong if you don't do it full time. I mean, before I was able or lucky enough to run my business full time, I did it part time. I was working a 9 to 5. I was doing about 20 weddings a year. And I'd be working 7 days a week for like months and months at a time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but we were lucky enough to get busy enough where I can step away from our 9 to 5 and take this on full time. And it's been the best thing ever. And when you're truly engaged, and I think you're truly focused on one thing in your couple, and that's all you really need to worry about is preparing for that. It's just a recipe for success, I'd say.
So I guess basically it comes down to, how important is your entertainment? Right. I mean, because obviously, like you said, everybody has to start somewhere. Yeah. And some people, like you said, are part-timers. Some people are hobbyists. So it just ultimately comes down to if entertainment is very important to you, these are the questions they need to be asking.
Yeah. And again, there is a company for everyone out there. And that's what's so great about our industry. And just in the world in general, there's so many diverse people in the world, and there's so many different companies to offer these couples what they're looking for, whether it be style, whether it be their presence, whether it be their price point. Again, there's nothing wrong with all these things. There is a DJ company out there for everyone. And there is a certain company that will attract a certain couple, and that will be their match.
Speaking of price point, what is the average price point for a DJ?
I mean, I can only talk for what we charge. We're definitely on the higher end. Our weddings average anywhere from $2,500 all the way up to $5,500. So this is kind of like I was saying before. There's a different price point for every couple. But what I would like to say is the service that we provide for our pricing, because like I said, we're more on the higher level, is absolutely exceptional. So if you want a company that's going to go above and beyond, that's going to give you 150%, that's going to work with you from the time you book till the last dance and everything in between, that's what we'll provide. And that's why our price points mimic our service and our professionalism and the whole atmosphere we offer.
What other services do you offer?
So obviously we offer music. We provide ceremony service, cocktail reception. We do uplighting. We do dance lighting. We offer photo booth. We offer social media booth. We offer backdrops for those booths. We offer intelligent lighting. We can do party glow sticks. So there's a lot of different services that we can make your wedding a little bit different and unique.
Amazing. So pretty much the whole gamut.
The one-stop shop, Sarah.
Plus the customer service.
Yeah.
But honestly, Kenny, with that said, I think you gave our listeners a lot to think about. You gave them the tools to provide, to figure out who's the perfect DJ for them.
Mm-hmm.
So our wrap-up question.
All right.
What are some key points that couples should be asking DJ companies when they are inquiring to make sure that they are working with a professional company to ensure that their wedding day is an absolute perfect event?
Yeah, so I would say, do they have an online presence? So do they have a credible website where you can view, whether it be pictures or different tutorials or videos? Do they have a social media presence where they're consistently putting up content so couples can really get an idea of what style that company is? And then, talking about tutorials, what I mean by that is reviews. So do they have reviews posted online, whether it be, the Knot or Wedding Wire or Yelp or whatever it may be, to get an idea of what kind of business are they looking to, have that experience with. Are they available for in-person meetings, or are they able to do Zoom meetings, and stuff like that.
Well, thank you, Kenny, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah,
this is my first podcast ever.
I told you it would be fun. Well, thank you so much, Kenny, for joining us on this week's episode of Wedding Secrets Unveiled. You helped our listeners become one step closer to their journey of a stress-free wedding planning. Can you tell everybody where to find you?
Sure. So our website is eliteri.com, eliteri.com. Our phone number is 401-996-3755, and we're located on Main Street in East Greenwich.
I also want to just take note, because Kenny won't say this, but he was voted for the best wedding music DJ for 2017, 18, 19, and 20. Yeah. Hopefully he's going to get 2021.
Right. Yes.
So for our listeners, we will have Kenny's information on our episode show notes, where you can find them on our blog, and that's on our website at sarahzarella.com/podcast. Thank you for listening to Wedding Secrets Unveiled. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you something. I encourage you to check out our website at sarahzarella.com. We love photographing, while having fun, of course. Check out our podcast page on our website for our show notes, along with upcoming episodes with your local wedding experts. Listen in as we help you plan your epic event. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you are listening, so you never miss an episode. I would so appreciate if you left a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support, and let us know what you think. If you know any wedding experts that would like to be a guest, we have a link directly on our website where they can let us know. Thank you for listening.